Flipping versus renting property. That's what this YouTube video is all about. My name's Simon Zutshi. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 bestseller. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network, and I've been investing in property for 25 years. Over that time, I flipped property, I rented property, and I want to give you some of the pros and cons of the two different strategies. I meet a lot of people who are new to property who think the only way of making money in property is buying something, doing it up and flipping it on or selling it on to someone else and making a profit. And yes, you can absolutely make profit doing that. My biggest downside of doing that, my biggest concern with that is once you've sold the property and made some profit, you've crystallized the gain. You're never going to make any more profit from that particular property. Whereas if you take a property and you might do it up, you might renovate it to refinance it, take most of your money out, and then you rent it out, well, you might only make a little bit of money each month. And some people say, well, I could sell and make 10, 20, 30,000 pounds selling it, or I can make £100 a month. And they say, well, I'd rather have the 30,000 pound profit instead of £100 a month. And I get that comparison, but what you're forgetting is the long-term value of property investing. Because we live on an island with a limited supply of accommodation in the UK, our population is increasing, we don't have enough accommodation, and so long-term property prices go up. So let me give you an example. Back in the year 2000, when I was still working full-time at Cadbury's, as a senior manager, I bought a property less than 2 minutes walk from my house for £42,000. Now, it was in a bit of a state, it needed renovating. I did a very cost-effective renovation for just £8,000 on the property. So it cost me 50 and it was worth about 60. So there was about a £10,000 profit in this property. And I looked at the rental income and I was making maybe, I think, £50, £100 a month. And I thought, well, rather than make 50, 100 a month, I'd rather have £10,000 profit. I could do a lot more with that money. And so I sold the property, I took the profit, I didn't have to pay much tax on it, which was great, and I reinvested it into another property. However, if I'd kept that property, I could have refinanced it, taken almost all of my money out, if not all of it, and I might have only had £50 a month profit, but I would have had £50 a month profit for the last 20 years. So that's what, 500 a year, maybe 600 a year. That's 5,000, 10,000 over that time. But also that property has doubled in value and doubled in value again in the last 20 years. So actually, I would have made a lot more money if I'd kept that property. Now, one of the reasons people flip property, sell it on, is say, well, yeah, I don't want the hassle of tenants. And I understand that. You know, when I first started to invest, I was managing the properties myself. I thought it was pretty easy and I didn't want to give any money to a letting agent. But I realized the more properties I bought, it took more and more time to manage. And I fell into what we call the landlord trap. This is where you spend more time managing the properties, looking after tenants, than actually buying property. And you make the money when you buy the property. So actually, I decided I was going to get other people to manage the property for me. Now that was a big step for me, because if I was giving them management, it meant I was going to lose some of the income. And that's why many property investors, they never do it. They retain the properties themselves, they hold on to them, they manage themselves, and they become a full-time landlord. Look, I don't want to be a full-time landlord. I see myself as a property investor. I buy great investments and I make money doing that. I don't want to be the person moving tenants in, collecting the rent, sorting out the maintenance. I pay other people to do that. So if you think that the reason you're flipping property is because you don't want to be a landlord, you don't want to deal with tenants, I understand that, but you don't need to do it. If it's a good enough deal, if it makes enough cash flow, you can get someone else to look after everything for you, which means that you could go on and find the next property to buy. What a lot of people do is they have a combination. They find a great property, they do it up, and they decide, am I going to flip this one or am I going to hold it to rent? If you're going to hold it to rent, you refinance, take the money out, rent it out. Some you might flip. The profit you make on the ones you flip gives you the deposit to keep the ones you want to buy. And so it's about having a balanced portfolio, looking at each property in turn. A little tip here, if you are flipping property, you need to look at what's happening in the market. If the market's coming down, flipping property may not be such a good strategy. If you do want to flip, make sure that if for any reason you can't sell because the market's come down, you could rent it out and more than cover the costs, then you can afford to hold it. The big mistake would be the markets come down, you sell at a loss because you're never going to make that money back. Whereas if you allow the market to recover over time and it's giving you cash flow in the meantime, you can sit back and wait for that property to recover. So that's just what I wanted to share with you about flipping versus renting property. I do hope that's got you thinking about what strategy you might want to use. If you like the video, please smash the like button, put a comment below. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this video, and subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon, what it means is all the videos that come out, you're going to be notified. You're not going to miss any of the valuable content we share on a weekly basis on this YouTube channel. So my name's Simon Zutshi. Please like, please subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more information with you on the next video. Invest with knowledge, invest with skill.